Hi there, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to just start getting started now. So today we are going to be talking about social video, and just a little background on us. We are from NewsWhip. It's myself, Gabrielle Boland. I'm the Content Strategy and Communications Manager here at NewsWhip, and I'm joined by Benedict Nicholson, who is our editorial researcher. So we head up the Research Center here at NewsWhip, which is a social media discovery, insights, and analytics platform. And basically, we're looking at the spread of stories and content across the web, across major social media platforms, and why stories are resonating with people, whether they're, a video, which we're talking about today, or something simple like a tweet or just a regular news article. So our backgrounds are in journalism and academia, so we're really coming at this from an actionable approach where, like you guys, we're trying to look for insights that you can use every day in your strategy and your tactics. So today during our presentation, you can tweet at us using the hashtag NewsWhipData. Feel free to screenshot any of the insights you see here, and you can email us at blog@newswhip.com directly with any comments or questions you have, or you can submit them to the webinar here and we'll follow up afterwards in a timely fashion. We'll also be providing the recording if any of you need to drop out early, and the slides from today as well. So that said, let's jump into social video. So our webinar today is going to look at how video measures up against other content. Video has been kind of championed over the past couple years as being the winning format. So is that still true in 2018? We're going to find out. We're also going to look at the changes in video best practices, the differences in effective video campaigns, platform by platform. I wrote the twice there, my bad. Guys, the video strategies and tactics of top publishers and brands, and really how to kickstart your own video strategy. I mean, it's 2018. I think we can all find ways to get in there and optimize our own sort of video content. So just some, quick stats on video this year and why video is still so important is internet video traffic made up nearly 70% of all global consumer traffic last year. And by next year, it's predicted that it's going to account for 80% of all consumer internet traffic. So that's a 10% increase in just a year, which is pretty notable. A lot more videos being watched on mobile devices now, more than half, and this has grown more than 200% since 2013, since 5 years ago. So people are, watching video wherever they are. They're watching it on the go. There's, a lot out there. On the left here, I have, I believe this was the first notable Facebook Live video from BuzzFeed of seeing a watermelon explode. How many rubber bands do you need? And
do you know how many it was, Gabrielle, just out of interest?
I do, actually,
okay, cool.
Ben. It was more than 500 rubber bands to explode a watermelon, and a lot of people joined in. They watched this experience. It was very communal, really changing the way video was watched on social media as being an experience that everyone could join in around. Some interesting stats for marketers here. So viewers retain 95% of a message when they watch it in a video compared to reading it in text. So very interesting. If you're a brand or a marketer, you definitely want to get some video out there. So then, people are spending time with it. They're not really skimming it, which is how we read on the internet. They're actually retaining that info. And then according to HubSpot, 81% of businesses are using video as a marketing tool this year, which is up from 63%, which they saw last year. So let's jump into actual data and tactics now, and I'm going to hand it over to Ben to kick us off.
Thanks, Gabrielle. Hi, everyone. So we're going to look at Facebook first, because why wouldn't we? It's the biggest social network, so it's as good a place to start as any. I actually wrote a blog on Facebook video just last week, so I'm as good a person as any, I think, to get us going on this one. If you want to go check out the blog, it's slightly different figures to what I'm going to be talking about now, so maybe still something useful there for you too. So what we saw when we looked into the data was that even with Facebook's algorithm shift, which allegedly reduced the visibility rather of viral videos in news feeds, video still is the top performing format. So the viral video reduction is more about kind of trying to make sure people aren't wasting their time and they're having a meaningful time on Facebook. That was Mark Zuckerberg's goal, his stated goal. So, you know, viral videos as a whole haven't gone away, but useless, quote unquote, viral videos may be less visible in the newsfeed. And as you can see here, 500 million people watch Facebook videos every day. And according to a 2016 study, 85% of Facebook video views are actually played with the sound off, which is interesting. I'm sure you've all seen videos that have captions or just even sometimes just text, although I think that's now being discouraged, are very visible in the newsfeed. And yeah, 45% of people watch more than an hour of Facebook or YouTube videos a week, and we'll come on to YouTube later, but the fact that 45% of people are watching more than an hour of Facebook or YouTube videos is a pretty impressive stat. So who have the top video creators been of this year so far? We're looking at January through April for this analysis, and the top creators for video are primarily probably who you'd expect in terms of total engagements, which is what we're looking at here. And that's likes, shares, comments, and reactions. And it's the viral publishers. It's Unilad, it's the Lad Bible, and the Dodo, other things like that. And we did this using Newswhip Analytics, which is our historical analysis tool. And we looked at English language Facebook pages, and as I said, which accrued the most likes, shares, comments, and reactions to video posts. And yeah, beyond the viral publishers, there is stuff beyond the viral publishers. We saw publishers focused on food, animals, crafts, sports, and news, all doing well. So there's no one thing that you have to focus on. It's more about how you produce the content rather than what the content is about.
There's a lot of opportunity to be successful as long as you're, tailoring it to what the audience wants.
It's about knowing your audience and what they're going to be interested in and what a slightly wider audience might be interested in. And NTD Television actually created the most video posts of this year so far with 6,515, which is an average of 1,629 videos per month, which I'm not going to do the math, but that is a lot of videos per day for anyone to be creating. So in terms of news publishers specifically, news publishers weren't quite so successful in the newsfeed in terms of their video content, at least. Out of the top 50 video creators, only 5 were actually news-focused publishers. And the most successful of those was the Daily Mail, which was the number 16 top video creator, which means it just missed out on our ranking from the previous slide. But they do follow many of the same tactics as those viral publishers. They create funny videos, feel-good videos that are quick, digestible, and they're rewarded for this with the highest average engagement of all the news publishers, with over 28,000 engagements per post. And now this actually creates the most video content on its main page at 4,593 videos. And we see beyond the Daily Mail, you see a number of digital natives like Now This, as I mentioned, Attention, and one of the new kids on the block, Cheddar, very successful at the moment, along with the legacy names that you'd guess were there. So ABC News, CNN, Fox News, BBC News, repping my home country there, very good. But what do these video rankings actually mean in the grand scheme of Facebook? So we looked at the top English language posts for Q1 2016, 2017, and 2018. And as you can see, there's a pretty dramatic difference in those pie charts. I should say these were the top 100 Facebook videos were almost all videos recently, and with only one live video. So for 2018, this figure only changed incrementally when we sorted by shares and comments. So it got a lot more when we sorted by shares and comments. There's not that much difference here between the videos with the most engagements between 2017 and 2018, or the type of post, sorry, with the most engagement. But between 2016 and 2017, there's a really marked difference there. So 35% were video in 2016, and it jumped to 87% in 2017, and then to 92% in 2018, which, as I said, isn't that big an increase, but when we sorted by shares and comments, that's where we did see a pretty big increase, rather. And let's look at a few more changes. So how have the engagements on top videos changed? So again, we looked at the top 20 videos across Q1 2016, 2017, and 2018. And again, there's a really incredible leap there between 2016 and 2017. So for the top 20 posts, the average engagements across them were slightly higher when we expanded our views to the top 100 videos. 2017 actually had a higher average of engagements by nearly 6%, but the total engagements was higher this year. But as I say, last year, the average engagement was higher. And that's despite the algorithm downranking page content. The video engagements haven't suffered significantly, but it's actually pretty remarkable when you look at other types of content. So for example, photo content saw a drop of nearly 35% year on year, whereas videos very much held its own despite this friends and family shift that Facebook are going for. And that's the engagements. In terms of the duration, that's changed too. In previous years, viral videos were fast, packed to the brim with content, trying to get you as much delivered as quickly as possible. And 2018 has seen a pretty notable shift in that. So in 2016 and 2017, the top 20 videos, that's a lot of 20s in that sentence, of the beginning of the year were a little more than a minute long. So a minute 23, a minute 25, you see there. At the start of 2018, and that's January through April for this analysis, the top 20 videos have averaged actually nearly 3 minutes long. And in the blog I mentioned I did last week, I did January through May, I believe, and the top videos were over 3 minutes long in terms of an average. So, it's getting longer, if anything. And it seems that viewers are now more comfortable watching video on social platforms. There's more space to tell a story. And that's maybe something we'll see with Facebook Watch as well in the future. That's definitely one to look out for. But the videos themselves. So these are the top 10 videos of January through April. And we see a few themes coming through. So you can see the emojis and the captions is an interesting one in terms of how people are captioning these videos. It's often to encourage an emotional response of sorts. And that's actually a big part of what a lot of these videos do, is they provoke emotion and shareability. So we see a lot of cute animals, babies, that kind of thing to provoke emotion. And it tends to be more happy emotions. There are some sad ones, but it tends to be more happy or cute emotion. But beyond that, there's some other things. So there's humor, especially relatable humor, stuff that elicits discussion. And then there's things like motivation and hacks, DIY, how-to videos, that kind of thing, are always incredibly successful. We did a blog a while back on how-to videos that is very, I think, interesting as to how how-to videos have grown on the platform. And the other thing to note here, again, as I just said, is the proliferation of Facebook Watch is beginning to happen. That's something we've had launched here in the US. It's not worldwide yet, but as you can see, Jay Shetty, who had the top post of the year so far, his channel is actually a watch channel. And there are already several channels with many, many subscribers. So that's definitely one to watch out for in the future as that becomes a more significant thing. And in terms of the videos from news publishers, so breaking out in terms of news publishers themselves, as we mentioned, the Daily Mail, again, we see these strong emotions. We see stories that are designed to either elicit sympathy or feel-good stories. That's a classic tactic. The Daily Mail, which was the top news publisher of Facebook video, as we said, really follows viral tactics, as we see there at number 9, that we don't deserve dogs with the heart emoji there, really provoking, tugging on the heartstrings of something a lot of people are very passionate about, which is our pets. And Now This and Cheddar are examples of pages that show things that social users wouldn't necessarily see every day. The business stuff that Cheddar does, or new products that they often advertise, or The new pair of lungs that now this is showcasing is definitely not your everyday content. In terms of the captions, it's a bit different to how we saw the most viral publishers doing it. They tend to be longer and fewer emojis, and fewer emotion-provoking emojis. Certainly, there's just the heart really. Apart from that, there's only a US flag and a rose. So yeah, and then we're going to move on to Facebook Live video, which isn't as prevalent as it once was. Would you say, Gabrielle?
Yeah, I mean, from that look we just did of the top videos from news publishers, only that top live video made it into that ranking. These other videos aren't driving the same sort of engagements, but what's interesting is there's more comments. So when we looked at the percentage of comments for the 20 top non-live videos, of the total engagements, comments only made about 5.6% of the total engagements. But for these videos, the top 20 live videos, we saw that number is actually almost triple. It is almost 14% comments of the total as opposed to the total engagements. So with the newsfeed, there's more of an emphasis on comments and meaningful discourse. So Facebook Live could be just another tactic to really kind of drive that sort of comments and discussion, and maybe help you build a sort of community on Facebook. And then what's interesting about these videos is they tend to kind of gather around either one of two things. So it tends to either be breaking news, things around like Trump giving his State of the Union address, things around the Parkland and Sandy Hook massacre, and then other things like spectacles, so things with, the super blue blood moon, or SpaceX launching things into space. So things that people can kind of join in on and experience together and discuss in the moment. We also have on there the New England Patriots celebrating their AFC championship, and FC Barcelona celebrating something for soccer, because soccer is always engaging, right, Ben?
Football is always engaging. It's actually interesting because something you can see here, 4 of the posts are about the same thing, which is the super blue blood moon. It shows you don't necessarily have to be super unique with live video. As long as you're there providing some kind of feed, people will engage with it if it's something they're interested in. It doesn't have to be unique to your channel or anything. And then just quickly on branded videos before we move on to Instagram. So the top 20 branded posts of April and May varied between videos, and there were 10 videos and 9 photos and just 1 link post. But when we look at the most shared branded posts, videos actually make up 19 of the top 20 posts. And when I say a branded post, I mean where there's been a partnership between a brand and a Facebook page. So, we see here Deadpool partnered with Manchester United, and Couple partnered with So Yummy. There's actually quite a lot of football ones in here. And I don't want to talk about this too much here, because we did actually talk about this kind of thing in our influencers webinar a couple of weeks ago. That's available. If you would like a link to that, you can email us. Or there is actually a full report that you can download on the Newswhip Research Center website. So you can head over there if you're interested in the branded content. But yeah, brands tend to be a natural fit in the content, or aligned with what the audience wants to see, as you might expect. So yeah, if you want further insights into branded partnerships, go check out the influencer report we did. And that's it. I'm going to stop talking and hand you back to Gabrielle to take you through some Instagram insights.
So Instagram's super fun. As Ben mentioned, we just did our influencer report, and we talked about Instagram quite a lot there. So in terms of video, Instagram's pretty interesting because it has a lot more constraints than Facebook does. For your live video, which is a newer format on the platform, you can go as long as 1 hour. But for a video post to your Instagram profile, you're capped at 60 seconds. And for a video post to your Instagram story, you're capped at 15 seconds before it starts a new clip. So there's some interesting things happening with Instagram and the publishers, brands, and celebs who are operating within the platform. So I'm gonna hit you with some Instagram video facts, and facts about the platform as well. So there are currently 800 million monthly active users on Instagram, and it's supposedly reach 1 billion this year. So a lot of users to reach. Particularly for brands and publishers trying to reach the Gen Z audience. A lot of them are on Instagram daily, about 63%. And then for marketers, it's pretty interesting that a quarter of Instagram ads are videos, and time spent watching video on Instagram has gone up more than 80% year over year, and that's a stat from the platform themselves. And then Instagram Stories has 250 million daily users, which is about half of the platform's total daily users. So, and again, that tends to be a lot of quick video on Instagram Stories. And then the top video, we looked at Q1 in our database, NewsWhip Analytics, and I'm sure none of us are surprised to see that it's Kylie Jenner up there on top with one of the most engaging videos yeah, quite a shocker with 91 million views when we took this screenshot. So pretty interesting. So let's just look at some of the top video creators of Instagram. And again, this is data for Q1 of this year. So again, like Facebook, we're seeing a viral publisher on top there, 9gag, with a pretty wide margin between it, and then World Star, Hip Hop, and Hood Clips following behind. So viral publishers and aggregator accounts had the most likes and comments on their video posts in Q1. World Star Hip Hop actually created the most video content. They had a total of around 3,500 video posts in Q1. And then we see a lot of other different accounts here. So we see sports quite a lot with the NBA, 433, Bleacher Report. We see a lot of pop culture like the Shade Room on there. And then we see celebs and influencers like Ariana Grande, Lele Pons, Huda Beauty, if I'm saying that right. I probably butchered it. So the top posts were primarily photos, but even for video posts, as we'll see now, we see that celebrities are still on top. There was only one video in the top 100 posts when we include celebrities, but again, when we just look at video posts, it's still almost all celebs. And so what trends can we take away from those top video posts? There's a lot of candid sharing and storytelling from these celebrities. So I put an example there from The Rock, and he's really sharing his thoughts, his feelings. We also see that with Selena Gomez on this list, the other example from The Rock, and even with Kylie Jenner. That top video was her revealing that secret pregnancy and really providing an intimate look into her life and that journey. So celeb and influencers really make their fans feel a part of their lives. They share a lot of relevant experiences or feelings. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to what The Rock and Selena are talking about. There weren't any publishers until number 61 of the video posts in our analysis, and the top non-celeb influencer videos came from, again, 9gag and FC Barcelona, because soccer is very viral. But since celebrities pretty much set their own rules when it comes to social publishing, we decided to look at several publishers on Instagram. So for this analysis, we looked at 66 publisher accounts for Q1 2017 and Q1 2018. Only 6 of those publishers had a higher average of likes and comments on video posts versus their photo posts. However, nearly 60% of the 66 had a higher average of comments on video posts than photo posts. So that's really interesting. Again, if Instagram ends up going a little more the way of Facebook and they decide to emphasize comments over likes, then video might be the tactic to use. People are spending more time with a video than just scrolling past a photo. Instagram, the platform itself, will prompt users with a comment field when they're staring at one post for more than, I think, 10 seconds. So it makes sense. There's also more video posts created this year than in Q1 2017. So there was an average of 252 for 2018 versus 202 in 2017. And then also interesting is that Tasty, which had created some videos last year, photos last year, didn't post any photos this year in Q1. So it's all been videos and I think a few carousel posts.
Something that's interesting here, which we're not necessarily looking at, but although video looks relatively unsuccessful on Instagram compared to photos, if you compare Instagram videos and Facebook videos for the same publishers, often the Instagram videos will do a lot better in terms of engagements or average engagements. So it can look a bit skewed negatively compared to the photo engagements, but when you compare it to Facebook, for Instagram videos, it can be phenomenally successful relatively.
Yeah, seriously, a good point there. And then, in terms of growth, especially, considering Facebook and the newsfeed change this year, there's been incredible growth for these publishers on Instagram. So let's take a quick look at some of that. So we decided to look at how average engagements have changed on both photo and video posts for our 66 publishers. This is a look at the publishers who have seen the biggest increases to their video posts. So that, again, that's likes and comments, and we were pulling that from our historical data and NewsWhip analytics. In a moment, we'll look at some of the top videos from our publishers, but here's a few more quick points. So almost 3/4 of the 66, 71%, have seen their average video engagements increase since Q1 2017. Almost 90% have seen an increase to their average photo engagements. So increases on both photo and video. 3 of the 5 publishers who had a decrease to their photo engagements actually saw an increase to video. So again, these publishers are really taking advantage of Instagram as a platform and these formats. So let's look at some of the top videos from these publishers. Again, just the 66 publishers that we were looking at. We wanted to highlight some of the key trends to know. So on this slide, these publishers are more niche and viral creators, but still we'll see some trends that resonate across pretty much all creators, which you'll see in the next slide too. So again, we're seeing a lot of emotionally charged content that is humorous, relatable, like the example from 9gag on top, but then a lot of like empathy or heartwarming things, like from the Shade Room here, the father-son relationship between Will and Jaden Smith, heartwarming, again, the Dodo example right here. And it's a lot of storytelling in just a snapshot. It's a snapshot moment. So, we see that with ESPN here again, which is telling a very quick story just within a caption and with a video. So it comes down to really knowing your niche. And then a lot of these publishers tend to use content from other users, which helps build a community and make those users feel like they're participating in something and feel highlighted, and then that gets more users sharing. So again, just on the next slide, here's from a few more publishers, more news publishers on here. And again, we're seeing kind of the same tactics. We're seeing, again, emotion, relatability, so emotion around things like BuzzFeed News reporting on Parkland, relatability with Vogue and Demi Lovato sharing things about drug addiction and eating disorder. And then even just, catching people's attention with something they wouldn't see every day. So for CNN there towards the bottom, we have a cheetah hopping onto a car on someone's safari trip. So that's probably something we don't see in our daily lives while we're at our desks or we're scrolling through baby pictures on wedding pictures on Instagram. So things that really stand out compared to what other content is in there. And then what we also saw is that brands do really well on Instagram, and this is something we see across formats. There's a lot of opportunity here for brands, especially sports. So when we looked at the top brand creators of Instagram video for Q1, it was primarily sports leagues. The NBA was by far the most engaging, which makes sense for this time of year. And sports creators have a kind of a leg up on everyone else because they have so much video content already. And because they are able to create this sort of hero journey, which we also see with the celebs and the influencers, users can really follow along. And the sports leagues also have inside access and inside peeks to these athletes' lives and what's going on. But a few other brands that did particularly well here, we had Red Bull, which I just put an example from a day ago. This video has already 580,000 views. Victoria's Secret, Disney, Anastasia Beverly Hills, GoPro, they're all also creating really engaging video content that we can learn from. So I'm going to pass back to Ben now to talk about YouTube.
Yep, so we talked about YouTube recently in our influencers webinar and report, as I mentioned. We're just going to highlight it again quickly here because it's always worth looking at. So YouTube has a younger audience with 94% of 18 to 24-year-olds in the US on the platform. And as of August 2017, YouTube's actually surpassed Facebook video and Netflix for time spent per day. And of all American adults, 73% use YouTube. And when you compare that to 60% of American adults that use Facebook, that's pretty impressive. And people tend to go to YouTube for intentional viewing rather than passive scrolling, which is, I guess, something you might expect from the way the platform is set up. It's more search-oriented than Facebook is with the news feed. And actually, according to Google, 70% of teenage YouTube subscribers relate better to their favorite YouTube creator than they do to traditional celebrities. So that's definitely an interesting one. In terms of the content itself, music artists rank highly. You can see on the right there, we had a bit of a cultural moment over here with Childish Gambino's This Is America, getting way more views than everything else, 208 million since it's been released, which is 3 times what anyone else has done. But Calvin Harris, Nicki Minaj, Selena Gomez, Sia, various music artists are doing very well. Then there's other stuff on there. There's entertainment and pop culture. We see Deadpool on there, and trailers, and the Yanni versus Laurel debate. I'm sure you all agree it is Laurel, in fact, because Laurel is a word and Yanni is not. And then moving on, we get some behind the scenes stuff. So here, the example of Black Panther, how Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger makeup, I guess, was done for his scars, the bumps that he had on his skin in that movie. It's a behind the scenes look at that, and behind the scenes stuff did tend to do really well. We see that we saw it with Washington Post and New Yorker as well. And then beyond that, you have the crafts and tutorials that you expect to see in other things. You have toy reviews, video game reviews, general interest stuff, and Hawaiian lava flowing faster than a turtle. It's not something you'd maybe expect to see, but it's interesting. And you also have more brands in there as well. So you've got Vogue, it is a publisher obviously, but they are advertising Rihanna's stuff there, with her guides going out, makeup and beauty secrets. So a lot of beauty stuff on YouTube as well. And then so when we sorted by likes and comments, there was more variety in which videos drove the most engagements. It wasn't all music artists and entertainment brands, but we saw publishers like Vogue, as I said, BuzzFeed Celebs, ASAP Science. And for comments, we actually saw some examples we have here. We saw influencers like Jeffree Star, Jake Paul, who's a famous YouTuber, Laura Lee, and the Ace family all ranked highly and actually outperformed music artists in terms of comments. And that's because these influencers tend to tell a story that users subscribe to the channel for, they follow along with, or they provide something to their audience, like a makeup tutorial or product reviews, that they're, it's predictable content in a sense. Their audience knows what they're getting and they keep coming back to it. It's content that works, and you build a community, and the community then engages with that content because they're expecting it, and they're not, it's not a surprise content. But in terms of the duration of the top YouTube videos, this is again something we saw in our recent analysis of sponsored videos. So the top 20 sponsored videos actually had an average length of 13 minutes and 47 seconds, so nearly 14 minutes long. And if you compare that with just an average YouTube video, which is nearly 8 minutes long, and an average Facebook video, which was nearly 3 minutes long, as we said. We thought 3 minutes was long for a Facebook video. Well, welcome to YouTube, where content is 3 times as long nearly. And actually, the longest one was from Zoella, who is a British beauty vlogger, I believe. And that was 32 minutes long. That is a little on the long side, even for this. But there were a number that were consistently more than 15 minutes long. But as we said, average about 14 minutes for the sponsored content. And in terms of trends then, we see pop culture and entertainment getting the most views. We see influencers telling a story and showing their human side a lot of the time. That's something we see with influencers that have built kind of a personal brand and have a real connection with their audience. And there's often opportunity actually for longer engagement with a piece of content, as we said. And influencers are all about that inspiration that's attainable. These are a lot of these people were until very recently regular people. Everyday people. They weren't celebrities. They've built a following on a platform, and it's very much like anyone could do this, which is why they're often so relatable. And videos can be more product focused than on other platforms, and we do sometimes see a blurred line between paid and editorial. It's not always clear whether something's an advert or whether it's just something that the influencer is really into. So that's something to watch for because it's not always completely clear. As you said, if you want more YouTube data, you can go check out our other webinar and report, but I'm going to hand back to Gabrielle now for some Twitter data.
Thanks, Ben. Speaking of ordinary people becoming viral successes, that's actually something we saw a lot in this analysis of top Twitter video. So we used NewsWhip Spike to look at more than 300,000 influential accounts on Twitter and the top videos over the past week. But before we dive into that data, just going to hit you with some Twitter fast facts. So Twitter is pretty interesting. We have publishers diversifying more this year with platforms that maybe weren't as glamorous last year, like Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest. These platforms weren't really part of the conversation that much last year. And that's changed. Twitter's turned a profit this year, very exciting stuff. And so there's a lot going on. So some interesting facts about Twitter just from around the web on surveys and reports is so 80% of users access Twitter through mobile, and nearly all of Twitter video views happen on mobile. So again, you're reaching users wherever they are on the go, whether they're commuting, hopefully not driving, but whether they're waiting in line, whether they're waiting somewhere else, you're really able to intercept them and reach them. So according to Twitter themselves, video views have grown 220 times in just 12 months. And then some, again, interesting stats for marketers. About a quarter of US marketers run video ads on Twitter. And Twitter users find video ads to be informative and not intrusive, allegedly. And then video ad revenue makes up more than half of Twitter's total ad revenue, and that's a figure from Q1 of this year. And even when Ben and I were looking at Spike just an hour ago before jumping on this with you all, we saw that the top tweet of the past day has actually come from Pokemon about a new Nintendo Switch game. So those of you who want to go catch Pikachu, that's out there. But apparently it's really resonating with social users on the platform. So again, like YouTube, there's not as much resistance against brand content as you see on some of the other platforms. So what are some of the top trends of Twitter videos? So again, this is just a look at over the past week in our platform. So some really up-to-date data for you guys. So here's what we saw. So of the top 100 posts, only 9 were videos. So they're not really on the same level as some of the other quick content. So we saw that 42% of the top 100 posts were links. 28% were just your normal, text posts, and then 21% were photos. But what's super interesting about Twitter and the videos is that basically anyone can go viral in an instance. There's a really low barrier to virality. So this person here on the right, he is the top Twitter video of this list, but he actually only has 2,300 followers. And same with the last slide too. In that example, she actually doesn't have that many followers. But even someone with a few thousand followers is able to go very quickly viral and see a lot of traction. So essentially, it just means that Vines are living on, because what we've seen is with these posts that go viral, they tend to have a lot more humor than the other platforms, than Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. But much like the other platforms, emotion is just a top trend overall. So beyond humor, we also saw, tearjerkers, heartwarming content, particularly that second example there, which we'll see on the next slide, outrage, and then weird or funny things from everyday people or things around animals, and then a lot of niche news, pop culture, and commenting on celebs and politics will also go viral. So just beyond the humorous posts, again, here's some things around empathy and outrage. So things that are very relevant or deal with very real social issues today. So whether it's, putting your dog down very sadly, it could be things around, the NFL kneeling moment right now, or things around police brutality and things like that. And then with celebrities are again very important here, as they are on the other platforms, but differently. So they're a bit more candid here, or very tongue-in-cheek. You have people commenting on celebs a little more candidly, and then you have a lot more political talk on Twitter than I'd say on the other platforms. You have Chrissy Teigen here, and her feud with Donald Trump, particularly around the announcement this week that the president can't block Twitter users. So very funny, very candid. Then looking at news publishers, we just looked at what the top Twitter videos from news publishers are. Again, a viral publisher on top with a very humorous post. We're seeing a lot of niche stuff around sports, around entertainment. I don't know how much of you are in the K-pop scene, but if you ever go on NewsWhip Spike, you'll see just how viral it goes. And here you can see many of the top video posts from these publishers were about BTS, which is a K-pop band, getting named as Billboard's top social artists of this year. So again, a lot of humor, niche, and very pop culture-y stuff. So that was a lot. I hope you were all taking notes. If not, we're going to send over the slides anyway, but we'll just do a quick wrap up here. Ben, I'll let you head it off.
Yeah, so this is just how to get started on creating social video. So the best way to start is look at your top performing content and think about how that could translate into a video. Could this be a video instead of a piece of text? Not everything can be. We're not saying you should make everything a video that you possibly can, but sometimes there is that opportunity to make something a video, and we think you should probably take that. Publishers like Motherly and Insider actually use user-generated content from their community and social media users to create videos, which is great for them because it helps them build a community, but it's also content that they can use and not have to spend time creating themselves, which is great. You should obviously be doing your research, so which videos perform the best on social media for your niche, for a certain topic. That's all data that's available, especially in our database. And you should be using that to inform your strategy, definitely. As we said, video can be lengthier in 2018, but that's not just an excuse to make a 10-minute video with nothing to say. You should still make every moment count. And captions can either tell a story or suggest an emotional response. Talking about captions, most videos are actually watchable without sound. So you can add those video captions within the video itself so that users can understand on mobile or desktop when they're on the go. And then Gabrielle's gonna take you out.
Yep. And from those examples on the last slide, those were two ways that publishers are experimenting or kind of diversifying this year with like Twitter, with putting captions on the videos and telling these very quick stories that are digestible. And here on this slide, we just pulled a few examples from Instagram stories for you all. So here's what you should know for actually creating that content and what the substance of the content should be. You want to pull your viewers in with a hook immediately. So only about 65% of viewers who watch the first 3 seconds of a video will continue to 10 seconds, and even less after that. So you really need to put your lead, put a striking visual first, and grab users' attention. And now this is great at that, which is one of the examples I have here. You want to strike a mood, whether it's humor, whether it's something heartwarming, whether it's provoking outrage, and you want to use your video and the visuals to really capture emotional angles and share authenticity or authentic moments. So you can hone in on faces and really show reactions. You want to be relatable and relevant to your audience. You want to show them something they don't see every day, something that will just stop the passive scrolling by and actually get them to stop on your content and really remember it. Putting in action-packed moments, again, that's really easy for sports and other publishers like Red Bull. You want to offer something like an inside peek or behind the scenes to their personal heroes. And then like Ben said, you can really incorporate user-generated content to build your community, make your viewers feel like you're appreciating them and you're recognizing them, and kind of encourage more creation. So just for the examples here, we have Now This, showing real people, real emotional responses. We have E-News with Bachelorette Mondays, showing something that's very relatable to their audience, that their audience cares about. And then Anastasia Beverly Hills is showing something that's really useful and of value. It's a beauty tutorial. But beyond that, they have an influencer, a makeup artist running the tutorial herself. So it's user-generated content again. So that's it. So if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, you can email us at blog@newswhip.com.
Mm-hmm.
You can tweet at us at Newswhip. You can, send us a smoke signal. But yeah, thank you for all joining us today. We really hope that this was helpful. We'll be following up with the recording, the slides, and the report coming soon. If you want more information, you can check us out at the Newswhip blog. You can also check us out on the Research Center for some more substantial reports, like Ben and I have mentioned, our influencer report, and also our Facebook algorithm report.
So many others. There are dozens of reports.
Dozens of reports.
So.
We're always doing reports.
Yeah.
So we're happy to help. If you guys have any ideas for us, definitely let us know that, because we love ideas.
We do.
We don't have enough of them.
That's not true. We have loads of ideas.
Anyway,
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you for listening, and have a great rest of your day.